Kelly, how are you? Welcome to the channel and to today's video. Thank you so much for clicking on and joining with me today. I am so excited to be bringing you this Back to Basics series. If we haven't met before, I'm Kelly. I'm the Frugal Fun Mum here in Adelaide, Australia, and we do lots and lots of things on this channel: grocery hauls, markdown shopping, clearance hunting, cleaning, taking things apart that really probably shouldn't, because I don't know how to put it back together again. So lots of things to just give you a bit of a laugh and let you know what we do in life and how our house works. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in and some very highly entertaining, oh my god, that woman is insane, content, then please consider subscribing, because we would love to have you here with our little community. Leave me a comment below and say hey if you're new, because we would love to chat to you. Don't forget, you can also join our Facebook group. I'm also on TikTok. I don't post a lot there, but I post some of the mini bargain hauls that we have. So without further ado, let us get into today's video. So this is the first video of a series, I don't know how long it's going to be, called Back to Basics. And the idea is that you are starting from nothing. What do you do? So this emanated from the fact in October I celebrated my 22nd wedding anniversary, and I was thinking back to when we first got married, and we got married on a Saturday, and then on Sunday we went to our unit and I was unpacking a lot of the wedding gifts and stuff, and I opened the cupboard and went, we have no food in the house. I remembered to get a bed and some basic furniture and other bits and pieces, and I forgot the food. And I kind of went, right, and all of a sudden literally had no idea what I like to eat, what my husband eats, just nothing. So I went to Coles, because that was the local shop at the time, and literally stood there in the supermarket going, and all I could think of, I still remember it to this day, is pancakes. So I literally grabbed flour, sugar and some eggs and went, we can just have pancakes. I think we had pancakes for about 3 nights dinner. We did grab other stuff, we did grab meat and pasta, but it was very, very basic stuff, and I was just like, oh my god, I cannot believe I had no idea. You just go through life and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I need to eat. And it is completely different when, yeah, you move out of home for the first time, you get married for the first time, or you're starting life over. You've suddenly got budgets to deal with. You can't just go to the cupboard, because you know at mum's house that you open the fridge and magically food appears. It doesn't work like that in real life, unfortunately, once you're an adult. And so yeah, I thought I'd go through some tips and tricks that I've since learnt that I really, really wish that I knew back then, to try and help you guys along your journey. So let's go. So the first tip I have for you guys is to write a massive list of everything you like to eat, and include everything: chocolate, milk, pasta, chicken, bread. Write it all down, and also write down the meals that you like to eat. Even if it is surf and turf from the pub, write it down. You won't be cooking it in your home within your first night there with no food, but write it down. So I've written a bit of a meal ideas list of what I have, and as you see, I've been adding to it. And it's quite funny because I found a really, really old one of these from many, many years ago when we were doing some budgeting stuff 100 years ago. And we had things on there that we do not have here anymore, like a lot of bangers and mash, apricot chicken, and other stuff that we no longer enjoy. We can't eat due to sensory or dietary needs or other factors. So your tastes will change. So to start with, just write down, as I said, a massive meal list. You can start going into desserts and things like that as well. Just get it out of your brain, and then that's one thing you've taken care of. So on here, for example, I've got pizza and garlic bread, tuna mornay, stew, spaghetti bolognese, etc., etc. Don't worry about how much it costs or whatever, just get it all out of your head and get it dumped down on paper. Tip number 2 is, once you've done that meal planning list, break it down a little bit more into like breakfast and morning tea, lunches, dinners, etc. and start literally writing out per ingredient and what you need to make all of those meals. Again, don't worry about costing and things like that. So for breakfast, you can write cereal. I just wrote Wheat Bix because it's been many, many years that I eat it. But I'd need Wheat Bix, I'd need milk, I'd need sugar. That's what I need to eat breakfast. Same if I was having toast, I like scrambled eggs, I need some milk. Then that's another breakfast. So literally write it all down and break it all down. Same with the meals. I've got here a lasagna. I would need mince and tomatoes, mixed veg, pasta, flour, milk, etc. to make the white sauce, the pasta sheets, the veggies, the tomato sauce, etc, etc. So you're literally writing a recipe for how you're going to eat. So that is tip number 2. Tip number 3, once you've taken all of that information, is to put it into a chart like this every day of the week, breakfast, lunch and dinner, snacks, etc, etc, and fill it all out. This doesn't have to be your Bible, but it's going to give you a bit of a reference. Now, when you're starting out, when I've done the $20 meal challenge, I repeated a whole lot of meals because it was just easier for me and I was trying to do it as cheap as possible. So you might like to repeat a whole lot of meals. You might like to spread it all out. Again, it's going to depend on your budget and how much money you have, access to shops, products, produce, etc, etc. So at least just write out a bit of an idea. And then we're going to move into tip number 4 and I'm going to tell you how we're going to work all this out. Tip number 4 is to go to Google Maps if you have the internet, or literally sit there and think, where do you live and what's around you? When we first got married and moved into our home, within walking distance we had a Coles and a fruit and veg shop. About 4 blocks up we had a Foodland, South Australian store, and another fruit and veg store. And then at a major Westfield we had a Coles, a Woolworths and more fruit and veg stores. So that's all I had to work with back in the day. Now I have a whole lot more shops to access, including Aldi and other fruit and veg shops and more variety of Foodland. So Google Maps is great for this, to sort of look at how far you're willing to travel. Are you walking? Are you catching the bus? Can you drive? And then map out all of those shops and then make a massive list of all of those shops that you have access to. Tip number 5 is to collect information or catalogs. I like physical catalogs and I'm already at the store anyway, so I grab them. So we have an Aldi, Coles, Woolworths, and I have 2 different Foodlands because we have an IGA and we have a Drake's. But there are other independents which I'll talk about in a second. So you can either do physical catalogs, and I like these because I write through them and make notes about stuff and then put them down in my notebook as well. But also if you go to the websites, a lot of them have emails that you can sign up for, so they can send you the catalogue in the mail and you've always got the information there at hand. Catalogs run from Wednesday to Tuesday for all of your specials, and online most of the Coles and the Woolworths at 5 p.m. on a Monday Eastern Standard Time will release the catalogue on a Monday night that's going to be released on Wednesday, so you get a sneak peek, early access to the specials. So then you can work out if you're going to sneak in your food shop for this week to get those bargains or wait till Wednesday to get those bargains. Some Foodland stores here in Adelaide are releasing their information on a Sunday night, so they're getting ahead of the game. So it's making it very competitive out there for you to be able to work out who's got the best bargains and where you're going to be shopping for your products this week. Tip number 6, do you guys remember how we wrote a big list of all the ingredients that we're going to need to eat? Well, I turned it into a spreadsheet and have written down all of the products here. I just typed it up for you guys because my handwriting is terrible. And then here I've got all the shops I'm going to access: Coles, Woolworths, Foodland and Fruit and Veg, Aldi, etc, etc. And then this way I'm going to know what all my prices are and where they are for the week. I'm going to go into this pricing a bit more in detail in another video, but I'm just focusing on this week for now. The fastest and easiest way to do this is to jump online if you have access and start product searching and writing down the information. It's where you can go through your catalogs as well and write down the information that you have, and then you're going to know where the best prices are. That's if you're wanting to run around to a whole lot of different stores. As I said, when I first got married, I had access within walking distance, because I didn't drive, to Coles and a fruit and veg. So I literally just went to the 2 stores, but wrote some information down when I got home. I remember it, and then started price tracking and matching things, which again, I'll talk about in another video. So for me, I travel a lot for work and appointments and school runs and everything else. So I have access to go to these places. So I am going to move around and shop at where I can get the best bang for my buck. Tip number 7 I have for you guys. Once you have worked out all of your ingredients and looked at how much everything is going to cost, you want to look at how much it's going to cost you per meal. Now for this example, I focused on Coles only because it's pretty universal and then most people can understand. So one of the meals that we have a lot is chicken and rice. It needs chicken, it needs rice, and it needs the jar of sauce. So a kilo of chicken is $9.50, a bag of rice is $1.40, and a jar of sauce is $3. Now naturally, we aren't going to eat all of that in one sitting, or even 2. It's going to divide it all out for a lot more. So what I've done, just an example, is divide everything by half and say that I'm going to use half of the chicken and rice and stuff, whatever now, and then leave half for another meal. It's going to spread out a lot further than that. I'm just doing it because the math is easier this way. So we've looked at half the chicken, 1 cup of rice, because we figured we can get about 5 cups from 1 bag, and half of the jar of the sauce. And then divide that by 2, because again, that big bulk is going to make 2 meals. It's going to work out to be $6.53 a serve. Now, it's probably going to end up a bit cheaper than that, and you're probably going to even have even more than 2 servings, but I've just done it as an example to show you guys. So then you can factor in that cost looking at your meal planning. So I would still incorporate all the money, so the $9.50, the $1.40, and the $3 when you're looking at your budget and how much you have to spend. I would put that in there, but then know that you're going to have leftovers, and then maybe next week's shopping you're not going to have to buy as much. You're just going to have to do the top up of like the fruit and veg and stuff like that, because you're going to have food left over. Tip number 8, now that you have worked out all the food you're going to eat and things like that, is to make it into a bigger list. So you're going to see breakfast, lunch, dinner, etc., and just keep it really, really basic. Basic cereal, basic sandwich, etc. If you want to go all fancy, then go for it, but a lot of you probably have a bit of a budget to stick to. I've just picked 3 meals for now because they are more on the expensive side, but I know I'm going to have leftovers, so while my week might be boring, I know that it's going to be basic. I also threw in there some apples to say they're $4 a kilo, and a cake, because who doesn't love cake? And looked at what my total is. So when I go to the shop, I'm hopefully going to be around that price. And then I'm not going to get shocked when I get to the checkout and be like, how did I spend $150 on food? So this will give you a little bit of a rundown example. Take this with you when you go shopping, and then you can double check and price match. If you get there and you want a cereal and you found something else that's cheaper on there, then buy that and then write the price down and how much you've saved, and then that way hopefully this number will be a little bit less. Naturally, if you find any meat that's marked down, grab it, because that's going to help you as well. But overall, you're at least going to have a bit of an idea of what your budget will be. Tip number 9 I have for you guys is make sure you put all of this information in a folder, because one day you will want to go back to it. Says me, who's wishing that I literally kept every single thing from 22 years ago, which means I would be a hoarder. But anyway, I would love to know what the cost of some of the things were way back when. As I said, I remember that we used to eat like bangers and mash and apricot chicken because they were super cheap at the time, and now, yep, so it would be interesting to compare. Join any loyalty programs like Coles and Woolworths, and they're free and you can get kickbacks. Just be aware of what some of the programs are with the minimum spends and things like that. Do not get suckered in. Go in there with like your laser focus and your list. Make a list. Take your list, says she who pretty much never shops with a list. And also join some Facebook groups because you can get lots of information and support and ideas in there. Just remember that one person's idea of frugal is not the same as someone else's. So just take inspiration as general, don't take it to heart, and you can start meal planning and making some ideas. You can also go to the library. They have lots and lots of books in there so you can be inspired for meals and other ideas on how to save money as well. Tip number 10 is don't worry. You're probably going to do your first food shop like I did and then get home and go, I forgot to buy this, that and the other, or oh wow, we spent a lot more money than I expected to, which is why I say to you guys, keep a folder so you can have all of your stuff in there. So in months to come, when your food bill is like north of where you started from, you can look back at your information and go, we need to bring it back to basics. So your first couple of shops are gonna be like, I have no idea what's going on, and yeah, you probably will just stick to one shop and just get your basic stuff, and then after that you can start looking around at other things. So all of the information that I have given you guys is just a bit of a guide and idea of what I do now and what I sort of wish that I knew way back when, but still I'm super happy with the fact that I literally got to a shop and did a food shop, and then I've learned a whole lot of stuff along the way, because that's what it is about, learning on the journey. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this first video of our series Back to Basics. I hope that I have shared with you guys some tips and tricks to help you along your way. It can be very overwhelming starting from nothing, and especially, as I said, when you open the cupboard and go, so it's just all over the joint. On Wednesday we're going to be doing a grocery haul. I'm going to be showing you what I bought, and it's going to be broken up into a couple of different videos because I'm going to be showing you a few different shops and a few different things that I've bought and how it would work if I was on my own, if I was just a couple, and how it's working for us as a family this week. And I'm going to be continuing that through the month of November to show you guys how we would work. So not as many markdown shopping this week because I'm going back to the basics of that it's just not there around, and I'm trying to keep to a bit of a budget and stick to that. Thank you so much for joining with me today. I so appreciate your time, and as I said, I really hope that this has helped you. Please give this video a thumbs up and leave me a comment below if you can remember your very first food shop or anything that's made you giggle, because oh, if we had our time again, I think we'd be like, woo! Please subscribe to this channel because, as I said, we would love to have you guys with us in the community and joining us on this amazing journey. And as always, I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye!